Microsoft Writer. This will be a bit of one bit out of the usual range, but we'll be covering a bit of a Star Trek Online project, and it's from with TFOs. Well, this is really more of a one brought up due to recent changes in the game, which was done after I recorded the last talk episode, and I couldn't really get into the last actual episode because of timing issues. But why? Why? First of all, the recent Synthwave TFO event TFO has brought up some issues with some of the more recent TFOs. Some of them are Drana, Gauntlet, and Pavo, and a few others. Several of the elements are to the control. The biggest two are timers and NPCs, or non-player characters, which is basically anything which is computer controlled, is not doing what they need to do to help to progress. And in most of the cases, there is no actual fail condition or the ability to lose. But here's a few things that I think any developer or player should be aware of. A few things, as I said, there's a few things to remember. First is that the game should respect the time that their players play the game. It really is, it doesn't go with a point. Remember, the people are paying have got spending time with your game. You shouldn't be making them sit there to count for half an hour. Now that isn't a big problem. TFOs are repeatable content, and repeatable content should be entertaining on the second time or the 50th time, and some of them are. Many of the TFOs are, but when you're getting bored halfway through the first time, you've done something wrong. I mean, Destiny 2 and Destiny 1, by extension, has very fun repeatable content in the form of strikes. I mean, they've recorded several versions of it with different voice actors. I'm aware that Star Trek Online has different budgets and stuff, and getting the voice actor in can range from impossible due to some TFOs having an actor who's passed away after recording the episode or the TFO. But getting voice, but alternative voice lines don't exist. But then they don't have there isn't that much reason for it. But yeah, chorus aspects of the said TFO should be working. I mean, this really means you really don't want, because this really does annoy the player base if you're fighting bugs, and I'm not talking about the ones in Bug Hunt TFO, which I'm glad to say has very few computer bugs, not blue gill bugs. And finally, players are very well known to optimize the fun out of games. And yes, don't try and make which really I should point out, this is all things that a developer should remember. So, some things about timers that I will need to go on about now. First, oops, so, this is my bad. Timers, they're good. I'll prepare for a timer at the beginning. because not everyone will actually join in at the same time. So this will let everyone to load in and get themselves get themselves set up before the actual proper start. And also, there's some other times where you need a timer for players to reposition themselves for the next wave or next part of the TFO. So besides those missing time stats, the people prefer the have a limited number of timers, of actual pure timers. There are alternative pseudo timers which are based on which is somewhat based on player control, and usually it's because players can actually do stuff, or timers that. Oh, we can talk about timers that move on to the next stage, regardless of what happens, and you've just got to, you've not, because you can, for lower DPS players, these timers can provide a upper limit for poorly performing players. I mean there's a one TFO I can't remember the name of. I don't remember them by the names. We do a lot of the time. I know them by their unofficial names, by the fan names, due to the fact that they have been known as those for the last 7 years that 7 or 8 years I've been playing. But in theory, they need to also some of the gaps. They do something else. Do provide cover why you need to. If the game tells you this is what you're supposed to be doing, and provides you some time to quickly read it or get it spoken to you to how to do it. Yeah. Moving on. Let's cover the good. Let's cover the bad. Okay. Many of the TFOs have the defend the area until the timer ends. But when most of the time only a few marks are actually the only thing lost for failing to do the task, and it feels a bit useless because the mark but you usually get enough. Only reason why I do them half the time is to make sure I get the mark bonus, because that will cover me for 2 days on that reputation. Well, many of the more recent TFOs only rely on timers as sole means of progression. I mean, we're talking about the last. I mean, a lot of the more recent ones have. I mean, the Synth Wave being the most recent one is all timers, and there's a few others which are very much timers with only a few get around. Now, not only that, no, not about timers, but I also got to cover about buggy NPCs, which is always why I got a bit annoyed. Buggy NPCs. Sometimes computer could show characters are non-play. Characters does not work correctly and end up getting stuck. And in a few cases, the NPC gets stuck in a place where they can't be damaged when the player is required to kill it. I've had this once or twice before. I've got around some of the times with mine or someone else's loadout. I mean, it's possible. That's why half the time I bring an engineer down on the ground just so I can actually make sure I can kill the enemies. I mean, I'm glad I haven't actually had the minute. It's rare that these random NPCs happen, but it's rare that it does happen now. But more recently, the issue with an allied NPC who fail to get moving or get stuck in another object, making it fail to reach a required location for the TFO or the mission to progress. Again, some of the stuff has been tweaked slightly, so they'll just bring the missions. They'll bring. You might have seen a NPC character, such as like David Martok, is most recently, to follow us around. His character, if he gets stuck, the game will beam him towards us after a while and treat it as if he's just got a bit stuck. If he's got stuck, but I will point out that some stuff. Yeah. Anyway, what about that fail condition? Yeah. With no fail condition, TFOs can take as long as the player wanted, assuming that there is no timer. I mean, in the synthwave, with some players are able to detect ally NPCs just by being present on the map. I mean, one of my own ships, the Repluvius and the Carcassa, she's built as a tank and basically just sitting there goes, "Hello, anyone? Any enemies? Grab it." Hello. I mean, in other TFOs, in some of the TFOs, all the player needs to do is watch the timer to complete it. Timer to complete a TFO. I mean, Paolo Pavo, General Gutland being two that really stand out. I mean, some of the TFOs do have quote A, do actually do have some stuff as well. Do have some news. Do have things. Right. While having a no fail condition, it does help to shows that players do earn progress against certain event targets, but it does feel like when the event mission comes into general rotation, it feels like it starts to limit the required build crafting as seen in many other games, to help players do more damage and stuff and progress. But yeah, question is, can it be fixed? Well, yeah, it can be fixed. The game does have a stuck NPC detection, and will unstuck if the game finds it. Many times this will result in a self-destruction of a unnamed NPC, or just basically transport or warp out a character or ship of a named ally. This code appears to be somewhat expensive because doesn't appear to be turned on by default for all places. I mean, and to make it more fun, well, some of the TFO's core premises end up being a larger issue, and some changes to the TFO would need to be made, but maybe a new TFO completely at that point. Yeah, I'm going to cover I'm going to ramble on that now a bit. So that's my thoughts. I am what many call a mid-tier player. My goal in the game is to be able to complete most advanced TFOs without being a hindrance to the team. Most of my characters have been spotted on the DPS leaderboards between 30 to 50 DPS in Infected Space Advanced, which is the was for long while a measuring stick for a lot of players. It's and I personally do think TFOs should respect the skill with it with ability to shorten the time of being playing. The synthwave appears to do the exact opposite, and makes appears to take longer the better you are. And if I wasn't it up for the rewards that the reward system is giving me, which let's say I'd actually skip it. I mean, rewards I should point out is actually the whole reason why I'm actually playing it, why I played it the entire time. And I think that's more or less it, at least written down. Well, next week we'll be covering something a bit different. We'll be covering something else. I'm not sure, but we'll probably be running a few TFO. Oh, won't be running TFO related, but we'll be running something about my ships, and I'll be running something about my ships and some other stuff I've picked up as well, some shipbuilding stuff. Right, so yes, this is being my chat writer. You know the well, yeah, well, this you could always find out when the next stuff happens and stuff like that. You could always subscribe and check the signature for check the doobie down below the doobie for the links to my site and anything else.